Welcome back to another video. And listen, we were all weird kids growing up. Don't lie to me and say you weren't. I'm going to be explaining the comics I made in 4th grade about a pig that worked in a regular 9-to-5 office job. Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said I was a weird kid. That's why I'm in an office today. But first, a little context. So, in my elementary school, we had a weekly school newspaper where there were a lot of sections that were mostly useless and 1 or 2 pages dedicated to comics. And now, as a funny man, I always worked on comics. I think I might have done 1 or 2 other sections in the entirety of the newspaper, but in the end, comics were always what I went back to. And I made some pretty good ones. As a comic about stick figures called Ink and Stick with the main character Jason. The Breakfast Land comics with a bunch of anthropomorphic breakfast characters. And even a one-off about a man who loved cheese so much he turned into cheese. But above all those, one stood. A comedy Goliath, if you would. Office Pig. Just saying that brings back memories. It was about a pig who appeared in an office one day and began to work a normal job there. It was a very weird comic, but also it was very funny, and few who read the newspaper could deny that it was probably the most well-liked. And so, to give you the full Office Pig experience, I have created this video to recap the entire story of Office Pig. Let's not waste any more time and begin. Our journey begins all the way back in issue 2, where a caption it was being held with this as the tagline. Now, at first, this was just going to be a one-off, but I decided that me and my friend liked it so much we would make a comic about it in that same issue. And so here it is. Office Pig. This is where it all begins. So I will read it out. So it starts with this man Gary seeing a pig at his desk and screaming, "First of all, that's my desk. Second of all, why is there a pig?" Oink. Of course, but I'm ching. You're not helping. Things escalated quickly when 3 issues later, in issue 5, there was a section of funny drawings. And I, for no apparent reason, drew an Office Pig mech. As far as I'm concerned, this has been deemed non-canon, but still just a funny piece of the Office Pig storyline. We get the first true sequel to an Office Pig comic. This is Office Pig PVI. It starts with a simple announcement saying it's a lunch break. 5 minutes later, a guy's eating a bacon sandwich, so Office Pig calls up the PBI. An hour later, they show up and kick down the door and, although it's left ambiguous, presumably kill the person eating a bacon sandwich. Also, bacon is spelled wrong here. The next Office Pig comic wouldn't come about until issue 11. It starts with Gary, remember that guy I was talking about earlier, typing away at his computer when suddenly the boss of the entire company shows up and says, "You've been with us long enough. You've been with us for so long. You deserve a promotion." Obviously, ecstatic at this, Gary hops up from his seat, sending Office Pig, who's sitting on his desk, flying. The boss man confirms and says indeed, before congratulating Office Pig and giving him his own office. Everyone celebrates, and Gary bashes his head into a desk and says, "I hate this job." Personally, my favorite part of this comic is Gary's face in this panel just works so well for no apparent reason. I'd say it's about time for the comics special issue. the business meeting. Little warning though, from this point on, the comic's continuity gets a bit scattered. It doesn't really make sense because at the time this was just short comics for a newspaper. But I'll try to put together the story as best I can and make it make sense. In the special edition, the meeting, yes, special edition, I spelled that wrong on purpose. It takes place during a business meeting. Gary asks, what are they going to do about the pig? Well, a new character alert, Bob, whose only appearance is in this comic and the final issue, suggests they hire it and name it. Again, this is where the continuity gets a bit spicy. I'm assuming that this is a prologue to the last one, or a prequel. I'm just going to assume that this happens before Office Pig gets the promotion. So I name it and hire it. Upside Down Face Man, who, despite never showing up again, possibly has one of the most important roles and best jokes in the whole series, asks if they should name it Pigbert because this whole comic is very similar to the comic Dilbert. Gary facepalms and says, "Did you have to break the fourth wall?" And Bob replies, "That is not breaking the fourth wall, this is." And then hits some kind of, what I assume is a brick with fourth wall written on it, in half with a hammer. Unfortunately, we're at the end now. Issue 23 marks the end of the newspaper for this year. And in my elementary school, elementary ends at 4th grade, and middle school is 5th to 8th, which means, unfortunately, this is the true finale of Office Pig. Well, let's dive in. Office Pig Out with a Bang. The final issue of Office Pig. I guess sometime off screen, the boss man, aged down 20 years, and goes up to Office Pig, or as he is now referred to, Pigbert, and says, "Your manager, I retire." He then leaves, and over the intercom, it broadcasts a message saying, "Pigbert is the new manager." He yoinks over the intercom, and Gary is insanely angry, and even though I don't think it's ever... Oh, wait, no, hold on. And he quits, saying sayonara to the place that he has lived, that he's been working for as long as we have seen. Later, Bob, I told you he would come back, has been chosen as Pigbert's assistant. He's happy about this, and finally it ends with a callback to one of the older comics, with a guy saying, "I like bacon," before getting thrown out the window by Pigbert. It ends with the simple message, "The end, forever," and Pigbert fading out. The final issue ends with this iconic shot, with every character from every comic gathering together to say one last goodbye. The only characters missing are Upside Down Face Man and Boss Man, but here we have the characters from Ink and Stick. Here is Pigbert and Gary. Here's Bob, and even here is the Cheese Guy. Here's the Breakfast Land cast, and even a few comics I didn't mention that are absolute classics. Carlos K. Carl is a good one. Let's not forget Mosey the Moon Bear, Dexter the Donut, Dr. Abhorrent, the entire Blueberry cast. In the end, this was truly the best possible ending. Goodbye to this newspaper. This is possibly one of my personal favorite things I've ever created. I'm glad I get to share it with you. Let's finish this video off with some more absolutely amazing comics from this newspaper. Possibly one of my favorite, if not my favorite comic in the entire newspaper comes from issue 11. The same issue where we get the promotion comic. But this guy, Chicken Nugget, walks up to his friend, French Fries, and says, "Oh, hey, Fries." Fries responds, "Hey, Nugget, you know what someone told me? He said that there's a world where people eat us, and our world is a lie, and they're in a comic, and they read us like a book, and you can see them if you look that way." And it just ends with Chicken Nugget saying, "Don't eat me," and me saying, "Bruh, we're in a different timeline." I also gotta give props to this comic my friend made about a chicken on strike during Thanksgiving. It just works.